everybody. Today's video has been brought to you by Eagle Solder. These folks are based in Hutchins, Texas. And you hear me saying, buy local all the time. We have to support our local vendors, our local supply chain. Keep them thriving. This goes for abroad also. If you live outside of the U.S., you need to support your local vendors too. Now these folks ship outside of the U.S. as well. The quality of their solder is really good. I use primarily their 50-50 solder and their 60-40 solder, and then they've got lead-free and other stuff that's available and whatnot. But it's really, really good solder. This is the solder I've been using for a long time. And I'm going to put a link to their eBay page on this video. So you can go there. They got a great deal, 10 rolls of 60-40 for $107, and that's shipped. So that's free shipping. That's $10.70 a roll. And as we all know, 1-pound rolls of good high quality solder cost a lot. And so you actually save money by going this route. But you can buy a single roll if you want to. If you've never tried them out before, give them a try. Try out one of their rolls. Trust me, you're going to actually be impressed with how it works. Now their phone number, if you want to reach them, is 972-225-5250. Should be right there. Or go to their eBay site and you can purchase directly, from there. But again, give these guys a try. Really good solder. So now on to our video. Hello everybody, it's Frank. So in some of my Facebook groups that I belong to regarding stained glass and whatnot, various discussions come up about using copper wire, tinned, untinned, and whatnot, for decorative work, reinforcement, and whatnot, and also the expense of the wire and purchasing and everything. And in fact, actually, a discussion came up yesterday in one of the groups, and I told you guys that I would make a real quick video about how I get my wire and keep the price down on it and whatnot, and so that's what I'm doing today for you. Now if you have any questions at all, feel free to email me, put a comment on the YouTube channel, Facebook message me. There's just tons of ways to get a hold of me, so feel free to get a hold of me if you have any questions at all. Most of you are used to using the rolls, the craft type rolls that are like these by Arcor. There's other makers and whatnot, but these are probably the common ones that you're used to, like that. So this is the tinned, this is the untinned, as you see, and it can get a little costly when you buy them like this. Now, if you're able to get a wholesale account, then you can buy wholesale from some of the major distributors and whatnot, and that gets your costs down low. But most of you won't be able to get a wholesale account because you don't buy in that type of level and whatnot. So here's a really good way that you can cut your costs, and this is something that I like to do. Now first and foremost, something for you to keep in mind is art wire, quote quote, sometimes when you buy them at some of the hobby shops and whatnot, is actually a plastic coated wire. So you have to be careful. If you try soldering on some copper wire, whether it's the copper colored or a silver colored or whatnot, and especially the other colors that they have out and available, but if you try soldering on that and it starts kind of bubbling up, smoking really weird like it normally wouldn't, and it just doesn't want to tin, get that solder to adhere to the wire, most likely you've gotten some that's plastic coated. So you need to put that off to the side, not try to use it for your stained glass work. You want to get the non-coated type. So that's one of the first mistakes a lot of people will make, is when they aren't used to working with the wire, they'll go to a supply store, a hobby store especially, and get plastic coated wire. Sometimes they'll even ask for it, and the clerk or whoever's helping you won't know the difference because they don't do stained glass work, and they'll give you the wrong stuff. So just be careful with that. Make sure it's not coated. Now what I like to do is I will get insulated wire through various sources and get them in larger quantity. And what's nice is you can then tin it yourself. And the same thing applies for this. The tinned wire is always a little bit more costly than the untinned wire, a little bit more. And you can literally just get that and, you know, get out what you need out of it and tin it. Easy peasy. Takes just a few moments. You can use, I save scraps. I don't have one of my little containers here, but I save scraps of solder that are the little globs and blobs that come off. And I save those, and I'll use them for things like tinning wire. So I'm not using it off of one of my good rolls. You know, I'm just recycling it. So I'll have a bunch of it there, and I'll just grab it off of there and tin the wire that I need to, and it's done. Easy peasy. So that's one way to save some money where you don't have to buy tinned wire, you just do it yourself. It's not really that much of a pain unless you're using a tremendous amount of tinned wire, and I'm talking a really huge amount of tinned wire. So, but that can save you some money. Now, what I will do is I will actually go to like the local, you know, you can do it at a lumber yard, or probably the best place is one of the home improvement stores. That's a big box home improvement store, and you can buy a product that's called Romex. It's an indoor wiring. You know, this was a 250-foot spool roll of wire that I bought, and I like to get it that way because it's just a lot cheaper. These have a 3-conductor core in them. This particular one here is a 14 gauge. And you can get them in the different gauges. And I'm going to superimpose a little graphic down here somewhere to show you the difference in the gauge sizes. But basically, the larger the number, the smaller the diameter. The smaller the number, the larger the diameter. So if you got some 24 gauge, it's going to be pretty doggone thin. 14 gauge, this, you know, etc., etc. It gets a little bit thinner. Like this, I don't see the gauge on this, and that has gone from so long ago. I'm trying to look and see which one this one is. I'm pretty sure that this one is a 16 gauge, and I think that this one is the 18 gauge. 99% sure on that. So I'm going to bring it up to this one. And hopefully you can actually see that, but it is just a little bit different. So your 18 gauge is smaller, thinner than your 16 gauge. So this is a 14 gauge, and it's a 3-conductor. This 250-foot roll cost me, I'm wanting to say probably around $25, you know, give or take. But basically, since there's 3 wires in that, that gives me 750 feet for, say, $25. Now, as you can see here, when I have taken the insulator off of this, there's the center ground wire. This is the positive, that's the negative for those that, you know, do wiring and whatnot, and those that don't, there's your explanation. But this doesn't have any further insulation. These do. So what you have to do first is strip off this outside insulation to get your 3 strands. Now what I like to do is I will normally, and I've got a piece over here, it's been hanging here forever, but I will normally do probably, and it's hard to see exactly how long this is, but this is probably about a 12 to 14 foot length. So I will actually do usually about a 12 to 14 foot length at a time, and then I just hang up my excess over here, and I will leave, you know, I'll use the ground wire first that doesn't have any insulation around it, and I'll still go ahead and leave the insulation around these while it's storing. That just keeps the wire from oxidizing, you know, over time, or helps prevent it. If it's set for 5 or 10 years, it's going to probably get some oxidation in there no matter what, but that will keep it pretty pristine for you. So what I'll do here is do a much shorter piece. So let's take a piece about like so. Do not ever use, if you do lead work also, and I've explained this in using miter, or using the lead nippers to do miters in that video, but never ever ever use your lead nippers to cut wire like this. That's going to shorten the life because your lead nippers are so finely tapered on their blades that they're easy to really kind of destroy them by trying to cut harder metals with them than they are intended for. Those are really intended for lead and solder. So I've just got a regular pair of wire cutters here, and these are a flush pair I like to use as well. So I'm going to take a small strip of this piece, cut this off, just like so. Go back down here now. Now, what I have done is, on my table, I have a lead vise, and I actually have one on each end. So this is where I attach my lead, come over to the end and stretch it and do all of that. So you can take this if you wanted to, and you could stick it up inside of that vise and wrap it around and then strip it that way if you wanted to. But what I've done is just put a little nail right over here, and it's in there very well, you know, because of this 90 degree that I have built here out of these furring strips. If you didn't have that, you might want to sink a decent size wood screw, down in there, just so, to make sure that it's going to hold. But this just stays out of my way when I'm working. But when I want to strip something, then I'll just come over here, put it inside the loop, and give it a couple of twirls around. I know it's not going to go anywhere. What I like to do, run my hands along here and just get it straightened out a little bit so there aren't any major kinks, which there shouldn't be since it's in that roll. Now, there's a few ways you can strip this. I like to use an X-Acto or a utility knife that has a razor knife on the end of it. Now, for those of you that aren't comfortable or haven't used knives like this a lot, I want to warn you, these are very, very sharp. These are razors that are on there. So these are very sharp. It's like working with any knives. Never pull towards you, where you could potentially cut into yourself, turn into your leg. Don't have it like this. And I'm going to show you how to hold everything. I'm keeping the blade out, or inside for right now. In order to pull like that, is if it let loose, you're going to come along and you're just going to go right through to the bone on all your knuckles there on your fingers, and it's or the tip of your thumb or whatever. And the same thing applies if you're going to put it down like this and try to come along there. Don't hold it like that, folks. It slip, oops, and away it goes. All right, so use common sense, safety. All right, there's no lead involved here, so you don't have to wear gloves, but you might want to wear gloves just for safety's sake, so that you're less potentially going to cut yourself. But these are sharp, so if you wear little thin gloves like this, those aren't going to do anything for you. You're going to have to use some nice thick leather gloves. So I'm going to show you how to strip this outer insulating sheath off of it. And what I do, and this has got to be a good sharp blade. If this isn't a good sharp blade, on there, you need to change it out. And these little guys, like this one, this is I think I got this from a dollar store. So this is $1. I've got more expensive ones and whatnot, but you can get them for $1. You just unscrew it, flip the blade around to the opposite side, and then you got another cutting side. When it goes bad, just take it out and you put another one in there. Sometimes there's storage inside of it for some additional blades. So here's what I'm going to do. I have the blade out all the way, fully extended, and then I get it started just right up in there, just like that. Now I am not going to leave my hand anywhere in front of that blade. It stays over there. My thumb goes just like this, just to the left of it. You don't want to obviously put your thumb over it like this, but just like that. Basically what you're doing is it's just going to go right through the nook of your hand, and that's just going to guide. Real easy peasy. There it goes. If you need to straighten it up, that's fine. Straighten it up. Just keep your hands away from it. And then you can start back up again. Gotta straighten it again. Just make sure you're not pulling. And there. Now, close up your knife. You're not using it. Now, you got all the insulation from the exterior off of this. Okay? There it is. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 of these off and leave the other one. Well, let's just go ahead and cut the other one. There we go. So now you've got 3 pieces. This one's ready to go. So you're ready to solder with that one. These 2 have the insulation still on it. Put this one away for right now. That off. And when I'm finished, I always like to remove the stuff off of there and just, you know, clean up, and it's pretty easy to actually straighten up. It's not all that messy. There's that. Now, if you want to remove the insulation from this small wire, I'm going to show you how to do that. Basically, you do the same thing on that end. Just run it through, and you're going to spin it around on itself a couple times, just to make sure that it can't remove itself. Remove the bend as much as possible. Okay. Fully extend the blade out. Okay. And this is basically the exact same thing, except now you're a little bit closer to your thumb with the blade. Basically, you're going to be holding it just like that. Okay? There's no risk of cutting yourself as long as you don't fiddle around with your thumb. You fiddle around with your thumb and in you go, and off goes the skin. Alright? Makes sense, I hope. So, now come up here, and just with a very light amount of tension, just enough to get the blade dug into it. And on this one, I will go ahead and hold the wire, but I don't hold it up close. I hold it like way back here, like at my elbow or past it. So if that way, if it, for some reason, if it slipped, it's going to go like right there. I'm not going to be pulling with so much force. It's going to like that. So I'm holding it there, and now just get into it a little bit and just pull straight across. Now, if this had kinks in it, this would be a whole lot harder. That's why you don't want to try doing this with really old, gnarled up wire. Now, I'm getting close to the end, so I'll just hold it right back behind it. Got the insulation there. And there it is. Now what you've got is your wire that has one little area totally stripped off all along its length. Now what you can do is pull that insulation off on the one end, and it is just going to completely come off of there. Now, if you kind of bobbled a little bit when you were using the knife, you know, you may come up to an area where you have to cut maybe a little bit of insulation off because you missed a spot and you didn't realize it. That's normal until you get the feel of it. But this will actually come right off of there, and there you have your wire. Now, if you got some spools, you could actually spool this up if you wanted to. So you could do some big long links. I like to just do smaller lengths like this as I go along, so that I've got just enough for the project that I'm working on, the project at hand. So that way it doesn't just sit out and get all oxidized. Because then you have lots of little scraps around that are pretty well oxidized, and you don't want big pieces like that. The little scraps are fine. And I keep all of those because I end up using quite a few. So yes, I am a scrap hoarder. But that's basically what I do as far as the wire goes. It saves me quite a lot of money, actually, on wire. When you think about it, those small little art rolls, they're pretty expensive for the total amount of feet that you can get out of something like this. And, you know, that's money saved. So money saved means you can spend it on additional glass, flux, other materials, you know, whatever. You know, money saved is money saved. You know, I also love to hit the flea markets, like I mentioned before, garage sales and stuff, and I'll get rolls and everything. But it's honestly a great way to save money, you know, on the wire. So I hope this has helped you. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and make sure to let your friends know about this channel that do glass work as well. Help spread the word, and feel free to visit my website. I will have at some point a section on there with links to the various videos, and maybe other like PDF format instructional pieces that I'll have available. So just go to www.creationsbyelder.com, and you'll find the navigation there for everything. I do teach one-on-one classes, and I do telepresence classes, so I can help people around the world, or you know, outside of where they would be able to come to me with their specific issues. So that service is always available. Now, if you have a video that you would like me to produce on a subject that you need some help with, let me know. I've got the list. I'm going through it. I am trying to get those done now on a much more regular basis. So these will be continuing to come out. I've got probably, I don't know, probably about a dozen or so suggestions of videos that people wanted me to make for them. So I'll be working on those. If you have a suggestion, or you have a video that you'd like to see made, just put it in the comments of this video, or you know, send me a message through Facebook, through one of the groups, or you know, whatever. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. I hope this has helped you out. Have a wonderful day, and remember, shop local. Keep our resources available. You know, try to spend your dollars as local as possible. Thank you.